Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Lakshmi Khurana, coming up in the next 30 minutes. French Prime Minister Michel Barnier ousted after losing no confidence vote. Macron to address the nation. South Korea opposition push to impeach President Yoon Suk Yeol over martial law order. North Korea-Russia defense treaty comes into force to deepen military cooperation and counter Western sanctions. Bhutanese King Jigme Khesar Namgyal Wangchuk to arrive in Delhi on 2 days visit to India to meet Prime Minister Narendra Modi, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar. And in Men's Junior Asia Cup Hockey, India beats Pakistan in the final to defend title. And on to the details now. French lawmakers on Wednesday voted to dismiss Prime Minister Michel Barnier's government just 3 months into his tenure. France's far-right and left-wing lawmakers joined together to vote a no-confidence motion prompted by budget disputes that forced Prime Minister Michel Barnier to resign. The National Assembly approved the motion by 331 votes. A minimum of 288 were needed. President Emmanuel Macron insisted he will serve the rest of his term until 2027. However, he will need to appoint a new prime minister for the second time after July's legislative elections led to a deeply divided parliament. His is the first French government to be defeated in a no-confidence motion since 1962, and Barnier is now set to become France's shortest-serving prime minister in history. And South Korea's parliament on Thursday formally introduced a motion to impeach President Yoon Suk Yeol, setting the stage for a historic vote which could oust him following the failure of his short-lived attempt to declare martial law. Yoon's declaration of martial law late on Tuesday attempted to ban political activity and censor the media in South Korea. The shock move divided Yoon's ministers and unleashed 6 hours of political chaos. The impeachment motion against Yoon was reported to a plenary session that opened shortly after midnight in the early hours of Thursday morning. Following the introduction of the motion, a vote on impeachment must be held within 24 to 72 hours. Well, North Korea-Russia defense treaty signed by Kim Jong-un and Vladimir Putin in June came into force on Wednesday with the exchange of ratification instruments in Moscow. The Comprehensive Strategic Partnership Treaty binds the two nations to provide military aid without delay if either is attacked and to jointly resist Western sanctions. Amid allegations from the US and South Korea that North Korea sent over 10,000 soldiers to aid Russia in Ukraine, both nations face heavy UN sanctions. Putin praised the agreement as a breakthrough, while Kim reaffirmed unwavering support for Russia's sovereignty. And US President-elect Donald Trump asked a Georgia appeals court on Wednesday to end the criminal case against him in that state for attempting to overturn his 2020 election loss. Trump's lawyers asserted that the state's courts will not have jurisdiction over him once he returns to the White House. They stressed that a sitting president is immune from indictment or any criminal process. Trump was indicted in Georgia in August 2023 on 13 felony counts, though 2 counts were later thrown out. He's alleged of changing the 2020 election outcome while participating in a criminal enterprise. Other charges include false claims of election fraud and solicitation of violation of oath. And the Los Angeles City Council on Wednesday voted to adopt sanctuary city status for America's second biggest metropolis as liberal jurisdictions gird for Donald Trump's return to the White House. The ordinance, passed by the unanimous vote, will prohibit city resources or personnel from being used to implement federal immigration laws. The move comes as Trump appears ready to push ahead with campaign promises to carry out mass deportations of undocumented migrants with the appointment of hardliners to his administration. Los Angeles is home to a variety of cultures with a large number of its residents first or second generation immigrants. And U.S. President-elect Donald Trump on Wednesday announced former Senator Kelly Loeffler as his pick to lead the Small Business Administration. Trump chose Loeffler, a staunch supporter and donor, to co-chair his inaugural committee after he won the November 5 U.S. presidential election. Loeffler was appointed to the U.S. Senate seat from Georgia in 2019 to succeed former Senator Johnny Isakson, who retired. She lost it to Democrat Raphael Warnock in a special election in 2021. During her stint in the U.S. Senate, Loeffler served briefly on the Senate Agriculture Committee. Paul Atkins, a veteran financial regulator and a pro-crypto lawyer, is President-elect Donald Trump's choice to lead and possibly overhaul the U.S. Security and Exchange Commission. Sharing why he chose Atkins for the post, Trump said the former SEC commissioner, who has argued against too much market regulation, is a proven leader for common sense regulations. And moving on, the Israeli military continues its operations to neutralize Hamas from the Gaza Strip. Israeli tanks pushed into northern parts of the Khan Yunis area and the south of the Gaza Strip on Wednesday. Residents said tanks advanced one day after the Israeli military issued new evacuation orders, saying there had been rocket launches by Hamas from the area. With shells crashing near residential areas, families left their homes and headed westward toward the nearby humanitarian designated area of Al-Mawasi. The Israeli military said the strike targeted senior Hamas military operating from the humanitarian zone in Khan Yunis. Meanwhile, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announced in a statement on Wednesday that the body of a hostage had been recovered from the Gaza Strip. The body of Swirsky, 38, was kidnapped during Hamas's surprise attack and recovered in an operation by the Shin Bet Internal Security Agency, aided by the military. The Hostages and Missing Families Forum, which is a campaign group for relatives of those abducted to Gaza, welcomed the return of Swirsky's body while demanding the immediate release of the remaining hostages.
By the Shin Bet and the IDF in the Gaza Strip, the body of hostage Itay Swirsky was recovered from Gaza and brought back to Israel. Itay was kidnapped from his parents' home in Kibbutz Be'eri on October 7th. His parents were murdered by Hamas terrorists, and he was abducted while still alive. He was held captive for about 4 months. In January, we confirmed that Itay was murdered by their captors.
Well, Israel's army released footage on Wednesday of a strike on what they call a Hezbollah launcher in southern Lebanon, amid an ongoing ceasefire agreement between the two sides. In a post on messaging app Telegram accompanying the video, the army said a launcher that was identified in Majdal zone in southern Lebanon, violating the agreements between Israel and Lebanon and posing a threat to the state of Israel. Israel says it targets Hezbollah's fighters and infrastructure. And CEO of UnitedHealth's insurance unit, Brian Thompson, was fatally shot on Wednesday outside a Midtown Manhattan hotel in what appeared to be a targeted attack by gunmen lying in wait. The shooting occurred outside the Hilton on 6th Avenue, where the company's annual investor conference was about to take place. Thompson was rushed to a nearby hospital where he was pronounced dead. Police said the gunman remains at large. UnitedHealthcare is the largest U.S. health insurer, providing benefits to tens of millions of Americans. The shooting happened not long before a scheduled investor conference at the Hilton. UnitedHealth Group Chief Executive executive Andrew Whitty took the stage about 1 hour after the event started to announce the rest of the program would be cancelled. And Namibians show excitement as country elects first woman president. Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah has made history by being elected as Namibia's first female president. The 72-year-old won more than 57% of the vote, with the closest rival, Panduleni Itula, getting 26%, according to the Electoral Commission. Nandi-Ndaitwah has fought against occupying powers, fled into exile and established herself as one of the most prominent women in Namibian politics. Namibians exited after the country elected its first woman president, marking a historic moment in the nation's political history. Well, moving on, Cuba's energy grid has collapsed, leaving millions without power, the latest in a series of failures on an island struggling from creaking infrastructure, natural disasters and economic turmoil. This year's Cuba's grid fell into near total disarray, stressed by fuel shortages, natural disaster and economic crisis. Dwindling oil imports from Venezuela, Russia and Mexico pushed the island's obsolete and struggling oil-fired power plants into full crisis several months ago. Hours-long rolling blackouts and severe shortages of food, medic grid suffering and water have made the life increasingly unbearable for many Cubans who in recent years have fled the island in record-breaking numbers. Well, an alarming health crisis is unfolding in the Democratic Republic of Congo, where an unidentified disease has claimed at least 27 lives and sickened 382 people in just over a month. Striking the remote Panzi region 700 kilometers southeast of Kinshasa, the illness causes fever, headaches and a persistent cough, affecting people of all ages, including children. Local authorities fear the death toll could be as high as 67. Provincial health officials urge calm but have restricted movement in and out of the region and advised against physical greetings. A team of epidemiologists supported by the World Health Organization is racing to uncover the cause. Samples are being tested as the nation grapples with another public health emergency. And the Arab Coordination Group has committed up to $10 billion to fight land degradation, desertification and drought by 2030. The announcement came during the UN Convention to Combat Desertification's COP16 conference in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. The initiative aims to preserve ecosystems while securing livelihoods in vulnerable communities. The focus would be on vulnerable regions, particularly in the West Asia, North Africa and the Sahel. This latest commitment draws from several previous ACG pledges, through which it plans to utilize innovative financing instruments and partnerships to achieve its goals in sustainable land management and biodiversity conservation. The Arab Coordination Group is a strategic alliance of 10 major development finance institutions focused on fostering economic and social developments in emerging markets. Our news from around the world now. Crews battle house explosion in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Aerial footage showed a blackened two-story home with the street lined with fire trucks. There were no immediate reports of injuries and the cause of the fire is under investigation. The head of the Colombian Coffee Growers Federation downplayed any concern about potential negative effects from the incoming U.S. administration under President-elect Donald Trump. Colombia, renowned for producing the world's finest Arabica beans, known for their exceptional quality and aroma, is the leading supplier of this variety globally. Conservationists in England are spearheading a nature restoration experiment in North Yorkshire, moving fungi-rich soil from an ancient woodland to a newly established site. The project aims to reintroduce missing fungi species integral to tree health and soil sustainability, potentially informing nationwide forest management practices. The experiment focuses on fungi which help trees remain healthy and resilient to diseases and extreme weather. Marseille Museum unites artists and acrobats in new exhibition show. The En Pistil exhibition in Marseille explores the fascinating intersection between art and acrobatics. This exhibition unites contemporary works of art with the often overlooked humble objects of acrobats, such as their costumes, tools and props. These objects are presented as part of an immersive experience that combines visual art with the grace and skill of circus performance. And still to come in this edition of DD India Live. Russian President Putin hails Make in India at Russia Calling Economic Forum, says ready to establish manufacturing plants in India. And in sports, D. Gukesh and reigning champion Ding Liren to face each other in the 9th game of the World Chess Championship. And highlighting the importance of soil, December 5th is celebrated as World Soil Day.
We have with us Mr. Philippe Noyes from Australia. So when we talk about, first of all, the award, because you've been sharing a lot of stories about Satyajit Ray and what kind of inspiration you drew from the legend.
Satyajit Ray taught us to look for the heart, to make stories from the heart, to be small in scope but big in heart. You know, receiving this award named after that great filmmaker, it's humbling.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, and moving on, Russian President Vladimir Putin has once again underlined how initiatives like Make in India have helped the country make huge progress in recent years. He made these remarks during an interaction with Russian Calling Investment Forum. Putin said the India First policy has created stable conditions in the country and Russia is ready to place manufacturing sites in the country.
Has a similar program, Make in India, and this is a very similar program to ours, and we would be ready to place our manufacturing sites in India. Also, the biggest investment in the Indian economy to the tune of $20 billion by Rosneft happened not long ago, and the Prime Minister of India and the government of India have been creating stable conditions, and this is because the Indian leadership has been pursuing India comes first policy, and we believe that investments in India are profitable.
And moving on, the Indian Space Research Organization is gearing up for the launch of PSLV C-59 Probha-3 mission on Thursday at 16:04 IST from the Satish Dhawan Space Center in southern state of Andhra Pradesh's Sriharikota. Earlier, the mission was scheduled for the launch on December 4th, but due to anomaly detected, it was rescheduled for 5th of December. Showcasing India's role in global space innovation, the mission highlights advanced space technologies made possible by the collaboration between New Space India Limited, ISRO and European Space Agency. The mission will function as an orbital lab, demonstrating acquisition, rendezvous, proximity operations and formation flying while validating innovative meteorology sensors and control algorithms, opening up novel methods of mission control. An Indian Parliament to resume its daily proceedings of the winter session on Thursday, with the upper house of the Parliament to take Bharatiya Vayuyan Vidhayak 2024 bill for consideration and passing, while the lower house to take up Railways Amendment Bill 2024 and Disaster Management Amendment Bill 2024 for consideration and passing. Wednesday witnessed opposition MPs staging a walkout in Rajya Sabha against the centre's alleged anti-farmer policies and for not fulfilling the promise of hiking the minimum support price for various crops. Rajya Sabha Chairman Jagdeep Dhankar slammed the MP, saying the interest of farmers is not served by sloganeering. In the upper house, the Boilers Bill 2024 was passed. Union Minister stressed that the Boilers Bill seeks to make the country safe. And Bhutan King Jigme Khesar Namgyal Wangchuk will pay a two-day visit to India beginning Thursday with an aim to further expand the already close ties between the two countries. During the visit, Bhutanese King will meet Prime Minister Narendra Modi. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar will also call on the visiting dignitary. India and Bhutan enjoy unique ties of friendship and cooperation which are characterized by mutual understanding and trust. The visit shall provide both sides an opportunity to review the entire gamut of bilateral cooperation and to further advance the exemplary bilateral partnerships between diverse sectors. And now let's take a look at other stories making news today. A group of terrorists opened fire on an off-duty army jawan, leaving him injured in the Tral area of Avantipora in Pulwama in Jammu and Kashmir. The jawan was shot in the leg and sustained 2 bullet injuries on the legs. Soon after the attack, the Indian Army along with Jammu and Kashmir police have launched a massive cordon and search operation in the area. Janakpur of Nepal is all set for the Sitaram Vivaha Panchami festival to be held on December 6th. The Vivaha Panchami festival is conducting on December 7th. The week-long Vivaha Panchami festival commemorating the union of Princess Sita and Lord Ram in Vedic era is celebrated with gaiety and religious fervour in Janakpur. The 33rd edition of Miss Nagaland concluded with an elegant ceremony at the Regional Centre for Music and Performing Arts, where 18-year-old Anon Konyak was crowned Miss Nagaland. The event was organised by Beauty and Aesthetics Society Nagaland under the theme Grace and Beauty, the Women in You. And a moment of pride for coach PR Srijesh as the Indian hockey team defeated arch rivals Pakistan 5-3 in the final of Men's Junior Asia Cup 2024 hockey in Muscat on Wednesday. With the win, India claimed a record-extending 5th title. Arijit Singh Hundal was the hero for the winning side with 4 goals, while Dilraj Singh hit 1. For Pakistan, Sufyan Khan hit 2 and Hanan Shahid scored 1 goal. It was Pakistan who took an early lead in the game, but India bounced back within a minute to level the scores thanks to Arajit. India even took a 3-1 lead at one point, but their opponents too made a remarkable comeback to make it 3-all. Arajit then scored twice in the 4th quarter to help India eventually win the game. And Indian chess grandmaster D. Gukesh and reigning champion Ding Liren will face each other once again in the 9th game of the World Chess Championship 2024 on Thursday in Singapore. Game 8 saw a 5th consecutive draw between both the challengers, with the game ended in a draw after 51 moves. The 14-round match saw its 6th draw. Liren secured victory in the opening game, while the 18-year-old Gukesh claimed the 3rd game. Their scores are now level at 4-4 with 6 games to go. The first player to reach 7.5 points will win the title. Well, December 5th is World Soil Day. On this day, the global community comes together to rededicate itself to recognizing the critical role that soil plays in sustaining life on Earth. The theme for World Soil Day 2024 is Caring for Soils, Measure, Monitor, Manage. This theme underscores the importance of accurate soil data and information in understanding soils. A report.
To understand the importance of soil in sustaining life on Earth, one can consider soil as Earth's skin, protecting, nourishing and sustaining life both above as well as below its surface. Thus, the condition of our soil reflects the health of our planet. The origins of World Soil Day can be traced back some decades to the tireless efforts of soil scientists and environmental advocates. In 2002, the International Union of Soil Sciences proposed the creation of a day dedicated to soil awareness. But it wasn't until 2013 that the United Nations General Assembly officially designated 5th December 2014 as the first official World Soil Day. This date was chosen to honor the birthday of late King of Thailand, Bhumibol Adulyadej, who was a passionate advocate of soil conservation. Despite its vital importance, the Earth's soil today faces numerous threats. Erosion, pollution, and unsustainable farming practices are rapidly degrading this precious natural resource. The United Nations estimates that 33% of global soils have already been degraded. And if the current trends continue, as much as 90% of the Earth's soil could be degraded by 2050. This would pose a grave threat to world food security and biodiversity. Meanwhile, India is making its own efforts to save the soil. More than 220 million soil health cards have been made and given to farmers to assess the current status of soil health and for better land management. In a research facility in the northwest of Beijing, molecular biologist Li Chenping and his team are harvesting unusually small potatoes grown under conditions that simulate predictions of the higher temperatures by the end of the century. These potatoes provide ominous indications of the state of future food security. Climate change has also led to the mutation of potato late blight strains, and new more aggressive strains have begun to emerge, and they are more resistant to traditional prevention and control methods, making disease control more difficult. Agriculture accounts for 23% of greenhouse gas emissions, 80% of deforestation, and 70% of freshwater use. A growing world population means that the world needs to produce considerably more food on this same area of land, a task made difficult by increasing soil degradation. What's also worrying is the increasing use of plastic. Growing evidence indicates that high concentrations of plastic affect critical soil functions negatively. Ongoing efforts to address this issue have met with limited success. In South Korea's Busan, countries negotiating a global treaty to curb plastic pollution failed to reach an agreement on Monday. Meanwhile, in Riyadh, the United Nations Biodiversity Summit is striving to address the issues of land degradation, drought, and desertification around the world. The soil of our planet is a critical natural resource, and it is time the world wakes up to the fact, which World Soil Day reminds us, that soil conservation is not just an environmental issue, but a matter of our very human survival. Bureau Report, DD India.
Well, India's public broadcaster Prasar Bharati has already launched Waves, entering the field of OTT platform. Waves provide a complete infotainment ecosystem to digital media and OTT audiences. If you also want great content for free, then download Waves today. Well, that's all for this edition of DD India Live. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lipakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.